All right, class. So recently we have learned and talked about two different types of location. Now, does anyone remember? I want to see if you guys remember what those two different types of locations are. Can someone raise their hand and tell me what one of those types of locations are? Yes, that's right, absolute location. Now, can someone tell me what the other kind of location is? Yes, that's right, relative location. So we had talked about absolute and relative location. Now, can someone raise their hand? Can someone raise their hand and tell me what absolute location is? Yes, that's right. Absolute location is the exact place where something is. Perfect. So now can someone tell me what the definition for relative location is? Yes. That's right. So relative location describes where a place is compared to something else. So these are the two types of locations that we had talked about, and we will continue to talk about those today. All right, we will be talking about both absolute location and relative location, but today we will be learning we will be making generalizations about these two types of locations. So now we remember that absolute location is the exact place where something is, and relative location describes where a place is compared to something else. Now, can you guys give me an example of each of these types of locations? Can someone give me an example of absolute location? Yes, that's right. So an example of absolute location would be an address. So like 123 North Street. That's an example of an address, right? Yes, so an address is an example of an absolute location. Does everyone agree? Yes. Okay, now, what about an example for relative location? Ooh, that's a good one. Around the corner. Oh yes, that's a good one too. I'll write that on here. Next to or near, I'll change it to near the park. All right, those are both really good examples for absolute location and relative location. All right, so now what we are going to do is I want you guys to tell me different things about describing each type of these locations. So I'm going to use this right here. And what I want you guys to do is to get out your journals, your social studies journals, and I want you to write this down with me. We're going to be writing this down together. And we are going to be drawing a chart just like this. All right? So I want you to draw this on your journals, and we're going to be doing this together. All right. So now that you have this chart written out in your journal, can someone tell me we're going to take turns of raising hands. Tell me something about absolute location that we know. All right, so absolute location is exact. That's right. All right. Can anyone tell me anything else about absolute location? All right. It does give direction. Yep, it does say tell us where something is. What about for relative location? Can anyone tell me anything for relative location? Yes, so we will call that, yeah, I'll write that. It describes, I don't have enough room, so it describes where a place is compared to something else. What, does anyone have anything else for relative location? Yes, it also gives direction. And tells where something is. Oh, you have something about absolute location? Oh, yes. So it is easy to find. Anything else about absolute location? Oh, yes. Ooh, that's a good one. It can be found on map or GPS, right? Or GPS. And what about relative location? Can relative location be found on a map? Yes, that's right, it can. Can be found on map or GPS. All right, how does this look? Is there anything I'm missing on this chart? Oh yes, relative location, that was a really good one. Uses direction. All right, you guys did really good we all did really good at finding different things about each type of location, about absolute location and relative location. So now that we have all this, make sure you guys have it written down in your journal. Once you have it written down, I'm going to erase all this and we're going to do something else. Oh wait, okay, before I erase this, what do you guys notice about everything that's written down here? Is there something you guys notice? Yes, so absolute location and relative location, they're different. Is there anything else that you guys notice? Oh, that's a good one. Okay, so absolute location and relative location, you see some things that are different and some things that are the same. Right, I see that as well. I do see some things that they have in common and some things that are different. Good job. So that gave me an idea when you said that. So I'm going to erase this. Is everyone done writing this down? All right, so I'm going to erase this. And what we're going to do is we are going to be doing another chart, but this chart's a little bit different. this chart has to do with what you guys said about having similarities and differences. So we are going to be doing what is called a Venn diagram. So a Venn diagram looks like this. All right, here's a Venn diagram. So we have absolute location and relative location. And can anyone tell me what they think this little portion in the middle could be used for? That's right. So the things that they have in common. So this is for the things they have in common. This is for just absolute location and just relative. All right? So similarities and differences. So now can you guys look at the chart that we just made, and can you think about those points that we wrote down, and can you tell me where they belong? So tell me one fact that we wrote in the chart and pick where it can go. So tell me one thing that we wrote down. Yes. So absolute location is exact, right? So I'll write that right. Wait. So where will I write that? Yes. So absolute location is exact. What else can we write? Yes. So where are we going to write gives direction? Are we going to write gives direction right here, relative, or for both? Yes, we're going to put it in the middle because both absolute and relative location give direction. Give direction, all right. What else can I write? And tells where something is. So they're kind of the same thing, giving direction and telling where something is, but I'll still write it. So gives direction, and they both tell where something is. Yes, so relative location, we'll call that a point in relation, because it describes where something is compared to something else, right? So it's a point in relation to. Now let's see, anything else? Oh yes, can be found on a map. And which can be found on a map? Absolute? Yes, both. So both absolute and relative can be found on a map or GPS. All right. What about some differences? Because it's looking kind of blank. Yeah. Yes. Oh, that's right. So absolute is easy to find, right? And relative location, yes, relative location uses direction. Can anyone think of anything else that can go on this chart? Okay. Based on another location. All right. And then, good. Exactly where something is. All right, so what do you guys think? How does this look? I think it looks good too. Good job. So now, after we did this, what we're going to do is we are going to make some generalizations. All right, so what do we notice about the information that we have? Yes, so absolute location and relative location are both places that people go. That's good. Anything else? What else do we know? Is there anything that we can say in general about this information that we have? Yes, so in general, absolute and relative location, they are locations and they tell you where something is, correct? That's really good. Is there anything else that we can say in general about these two types of locations? Yeah, that's right. So it seems like they are different, but they're not too different, right? It's just absolute is exact and relative is using direction, telling where something is based off of something else. So what have you guys learned about these types of locations? Okay, good. So you learn the absolute and relative location. They're basically the same in the purpose, right? In what they do and what they're known as. They're known as a location. And they both give us direction and tell us where something is, right? Great job. Now we know that absolute and relative locations are everywhere we go, right? We can find them anywhere, we can use them anywhere. Oh, that's a good thought. There are places that can be both absolute and relative locations. Okay, so are all these generalizations that we just made, are they supported by the things that we wrote and things that we learned about? Yes, that's right. All right, you guys did so good on the observations and the analysis, and you did very good at giving me all the information and remembering all the information about absolute and relative locations. And you did super good at making generalizations. Do you guys think that you can make generalizations from now on throughout class? Yeah? I think so too. You guys did really well.